Hi guys, and welcome back to Old Southern Kitchen and Garden. Today what we want to make for you is a southern staple really. It's a pan-fried pork chop. Went to the store and I got some thinner cut pork chops. Whenever you're going to actually fry them, you do want a smaller pork chop so that it doesn't burn on the outside and still not be cooked on the inside. We took the pork chops and we seasoned them with salt, pepper, Tony's, which was actually a salt-free Tony's, and garlic and onion powder. So the next thing we're going to want to do is set up our dredging station. Now what I have here is 2 cups of flour, 1/4 cup of cornstarch, which will give it a little crispier crust than just your plain flour. And we've seasoned this with all the same seasonings we have here: salt, peppers, Tony's, a little onion powder, and a garlic blend that we really like to use. Now in this portion, it's going to be the wet dredge, and I have 3 eggs and almost a full can of carnation milk, and we've seasoned this with, again, the same seasonings. You want everything to be seasoned separately so that you're adding flavor with every step of your dredging process. So what you're going to want to do is take your pork chops, and the first step is always to get flour on them first. And the reason you're going to do this is once you take this and put it into the wet batter, it gives something for the egg and the milk to cling on to. That way you'll get a nice, thick, crispy crust. Once you have it there, we're just going to go right back into the flour. Make sure it's totally coated. And once you get a nice little crust on it, you can set it aside and wait to drop it in the fryer. I'm only going to be able to do about 3 of these at a time with the size of the pot. So we're going to get them all nice and coated. And I have the oil heating already, and as you can see, it has about a 1/4 inch of oil in it. You don't want it to totally cover the pork chops because this is a pan fry, not a deep fry. If I were at the restaurant where I have an industrial fryer, I would just throw them into the deep fryer, let it cook all the way through. That does reduce the amount of time that you do have to cook because it is totally covered and frying from all ends at the same time.
Plus, down here in the South, we think pan frying is healthier than deep frying.
Well,
That may not be true, but that doesn't mean that we don't think that.
it's all about what you think. As long as you're still getting a fried pork chop, you can think it's as healthy as you want.
Yes. You know, Chuck told y'all, if y'all haven't seen that sticky chicken video, go ahead and watch it. Chuck told y'all that was his mom's favorite meal. My mother's favorite meal is a fried pork chop. I'm going to go ahead and embarrass her here. She will gnaw on that thing after she eats that pork chop. She will gnaw on that thing like a dog out in the yard.
She has also been known to trade the meat on the pork chop for the bone on someone else's plate just so she can gnaw on it.
Yes, and she kind of does that sometimes with steak too. So yeah, we're telling all her secrets today.
Okay, I have the pot heated up to 350 degrees, and we are going to just drop the pork chops in and let them start to fry.
You hear that sizzle, y'all?
There we go. We're going to let them fry for about 3 to 4 minutes on this side, then flip them over and fry them additionally on the other side. So we're going to just let this fry for a minute, and we'll be right back to show you what they look like. Okay guys, the first pork chops are ready to come out. We fried them for 3 minutes on each side until they were golden brown and the internal temperature was 160. These baby tongs are not my friend.
I don't know why you didn't get big boy tongs.
These are pretty and red, so we tried them out.
Okay, we're back, y'all. We had a little bit of camera malfunction right there, so he's putting in the second batch of the pork chops.
And what we're going to do after these pork chops are fried, we're going to use all of this flour that you can see coming off. We're going to pour the grease out, make a light roux with a little bit of flour, and make that tomato gravy to go on top of these and the mashed potatoes that we're going to serve with it.
Now, a lot of people love white gravy. It is the gravy of the South. Pepper gravy, white gravy. We both like that too. But I do prefer tomato gravy, so any chance I get to have tomato gravy, I'm taking it. And that was my idea tonight. Instead of making white gravy for the pork chops, to make the tomato gravy. Back to you, Chuck.
See, you can see, don't get alarmed. Where the bone is, it's going to release blood while you're frying. That's actually a good sign. It means that one side's cooking rather quickly on this pork chops because they are thin. So that it pushes the blood out once it's actually cooking as it comes up and pushing the blood up with it. Whenever you flip it over, it's going to cook all that off as you're finishing the pork chops. So we're going to finish these, and I'm going to get rid of this grease, and then I'll show you how we're going to make the gravy to go with everything else. Okay, I'm going to get Dale to grab these and put them in the oven. We have it barely heated so that we can keep them warm while we make the gravy. I've also poured out all of the oil, and as you can see, they just have a little bit of flour left in it. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to saute some onions, and I'm going to give you a quick little tip. If you want onions to saute fast, but you don't want an extra crispy onion, the secret is a little bit of baking soda. You don't want too much. What it's going to do is break down the structure of the onion, and they will pretty much melt. So if you want like the flavor of onions, but you want a really soft onion in whatever you're cooking, the baking soda will not add any flavor. It won't make it extremely salty. All it will do is help the onions to break down. So we're going to let this break down a little bit, and I'll show you exactly what we mean. You can see already what I mean. They've literally only been in here a minute, and they're already extremely tender. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a little garlic. Not a lot. We like garlic a lot here. As you can see, the onions are already now just a paste. I'm going to add a little more flour because we do want a thicker gravy. And I'm going to let this cook out. You just basically want the flavor of raw flour to cook out. And then I'm going to add tomatoes. If the gardens were producing, we'd add fresh tomatoes. They're not right now because it's cold outside.
And that wasn't just canned tomatoes, y'all. That was Rotel, something every house down south makes sure they always have on hand. So this is going to give it a little bit of a kick to the tomato.
Yeah, it does have diced chilies in it, so it's going to add a little spice to it. Then to this, we're going to add chicken stock. I have a cup of chicken stock here. Now's when we can add some seasoning.
But not too much salt between the chicken stock.
The Rotel that we did use today is salt-free. I'm going to add a couple of, about a tablespoon and a half of Worcestershire sauce. I don't want to add any pepper to it because Rotel is known to be spicy. I'm going to add a little bit of paprika. I just love the taste of peppers. Paprika is a sweet pepper. You can see it foaming as the tomatoes are cooking out.
That is some good gravy, y'all. If y'all never had tomato gravy, you have to give it a try.
Just to make it a little different, I have a little bit of milk left from making my batter, so I'm going to add a little to make it more of a creamy tomato gravy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And then I'll let this cook for a minute or two just until it thickens up and all the flavors can combine. As this is finishing, Dale is getting the mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese ready.
And biscuits. I'm getting biscuits ready too, because you gotta have biscuits with gravy.
So I'm gonna let this finish cooking out and then we'll set up a plate and show you the finished product. Welcome back, y'all. And this is our Sunday supper. We have mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, a fresh sliced tomato, biscuit, and fried pork chop with fresh tomato gravy. As you can see, the gravy has cooked down and is really thick.
I'm trying to get y'all all up in that plate like I'm about to be.
And there you have it. It's a perfect meal for a Sunday supper, Monday supper, Tuesday supper, any day of the week. If you've enjoyed this recipe, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. That way you'll get notified of every video that we post.
And tell all your friends where they can find the best down-home cooked food.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you again in the next video.
Bye, y'all.